Well, color me a little surprised. I thought I'd dig into the case of Chrystul Kizer a little bit more, kind of find out what's going on there. And I came across some information that I honestly did not know. And I hope I'm not the last person to know this. But I went into the Wikipedia page, for example, and found nothing about this. And I went online for a search and found nothing. What's this all about? Well, I typed in Chrystul Kizer's name into the Wisconsin Circuit Court Access and came up with 2 hits. There is one case that is still open. That's the one we all know about, the murder and various other offenses, arson and such. There's one that was closed. If we read it, it gets very interesting. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dredd to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dredd Show.
Okay, let's take a look here. We're going to look at the first one. Now, this one's been closed out. And the date is August 28th, 2017. She was 17 years old at this time. So what is it? Well, if we go down, we have Statute 946.04, fleeing or eluding an officer. Felony. Now, felony I is the lowest form of felony, so it's the least severe. But take a look. Guilty plea. So she pled guilty to felony eluding an officer. And if you look down here a bit, you'll notice that there's mention of a traffic deal, like the Department of Transportation has revoked her license. This looks like she led police on a chase. And I was not able to find anything about this at the time. So I did an online search. She was a juvenile at the time, so they probably didn't publicize much of it. But let's take a look here. The offense date is on August 22nd, 2017, and she pled guilty on June 4th, 2018. Keep in mind that date, June 4th, 2018. That's going to be interesting a little bit later. Now, what did she receive in terms of punishment? Well, she's been sentenced to state prison for 14 months. There's no beginning date set aside, so it looks like that's still open. And also an extended supervision for an additional 18 months. There are some conditions that they have established. She has to seek and maintain full-time employment or enrollment in school. Firearms weapons restriction. Pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 972.16, the court advised the defendant of the following restrictions: firearm possession and voting. She's been convicted of a felony. Cannot possess a firearm if you have been convicted of a felony. Went through that very deeply on one of my other videos. And there doesn't seem to be anything else there of interest. Okay, so let's go down to on September 5th, 2018. It mentions here that defendant Chrystul Kizer is in court with her attorney, Douglas Reipholz. And it says the court sentenced the defendant to a maximum term of imprisonment of 32 months with credit for 55 days time served. So she was in jail for 55 days. Keep in mind, this is like a police chase, it looks to me like. The initial term of confinement in the Wisconsin state prison system is 14 months. The maximum term of extended supervision is 18 months. So she's going to serve 14 months in prison and another 18 months supervised. She received a maximum sentence after pleading guilty. Wow. And it appears that this is her first offense. Man, that is rough. I tell you right now, that looks ridiculous. But, I'm not privy as to what actually took place. It doesn't say anything about her endangering others, though. So I would assume that this was just her eluding the police and not pulling over. I have no idea. Now, why is that date of June 4th, 2018 important? Let's go ahead to the next offense, the one everybody knows about, when she shot Randall Volar and killed him. Okay, so here is the case about that. What is she facing? First-degree intentional homicide. Okay, we know about that one. Use of a dangerous weapon. That was the handgun that she used to shoot him. Take and drive vehicle without consent. That looks more like car theft, but okay. Arson of building without owner's consent. So she tried to burn his house down. Bail jumping. So she jumped bail here, and that was a felony. Okay. And possession of a firearm, convicted of a felony. So let's move down a little bit more. A little interesting here. Take a look at the offense date. 6/5/2018. Does 6/4/2018 ring a bell? Yeah. She was sentenced on 6/4/2018 to prison for a felony, and the following day committed these offenses, alleged. She got the gun the day after she was sentenced and told that she had a felony conviction and could not possess a weapon. This is really strange. Maybe I'm misreading this somehow, and if so, I would love somebody to point out where I'm wrong here, but I don't see it. So Chrystul Kizer is not just in trouble for possession of a gun as a minor, which is a federal offense, but also for possession of a weapon because she was a felon. Now, keep in mind, a felon can use a gun to defend themselves. I went over this many times in my videos. I have a lot of case law there. There's one in Wisconsin where a person who was an ex-felon shot a police officer and claimed self-defense. And the Court of Appeals ruled that, guess what? Just because you have been convicted of a felony and you are not entitled to possess that weapon, in fact, possession of a weapon by a felon is a felony, it doesn't negate your self-defense. So those of you guys out there who are saying, Kyle, he should not have had that weapon. He can't claim self-defense. He has a misdemeanor, legal possession by a minor. Well, okay, here we go. Possession of a handgun by a minor. Much more severe case than possession of a rifle, and felon in possession. And yet I will be the first out here to say she is still entitled to self-defense. If she did shoot Randall Volar in self-defense, the fact that she was a felon in possession of a handgun should not matter. Now, she still has to pay the piper for being felon in possession. But murder? No, not if it's in self-defense. I'm also curious about the bail jumping. It's kind of odd timing, and I would like to go down here and find out where that is showing up. So if you go to it, it's right here. The bail jumping that she allegedly did occurred on 6/5/2018. So I'm not sure how that works out because she was arrested for these offenses. Well, these offenses date to 6/5/2018, and at that time, they're claiming that she jumped bail, but she had been sentenced the prior day to prison. So how is that bail jumping? I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that perhaps she wasn't in court at the time when they sentenced her, and therefore she didn't show up for court, and therefore she is guilty of bail jumping on top of that. I don't know. I mean, anybody out there who have any ideas what this could mean, I would love to hear it. But given that the offense took place on 6/5/2018, I mean, she wasn't arrested right away, so she couldn't have jumped bail for these offenses on that date, I wouldn't think. Yeah, according to down here, her cash bond was set, that was for the $1 million on 6/13. I don't see any other. She had a bail bond hearing on 6/11, but still, that's 3 days later. So that bail jumping must have been for the prior case, I guess. Like my video and subscribe to my channel. And if you can figure this thing out, let me know.